Straight ahead on IU Newsnet, students at the media school get a letter from faculty members expressing outrage and support over the cascade of actions involving the Indiana Daily student. We'll tell you what it says.
Plus, another IU fraternity gets put on cease and desist for hazing. We'll have the latest on 2 criminal investigations tied to injuries.
And student-run dance groups are fighting for practice space, and all amid the on-campus construction. We'll hear what they're doing to keep rehearsing. IU Newsnet starts now. Hello and welcome to IU Newsnet. I'm Claire Tips.
And I'm Shelby Brown. The media school remains in crisis mode after a series of events have tarnished the reputation of how IU treats the editorial freedom of student media. At the center of it all is the Indiana Daily student newspaper. Now media school faculty members are banding together to send a powerful message to their students, a first step in trying to repair the damage.
Nearly 50 faculty members at the media school, a majority, have formalized their concerns in a letter to their students. Professor Susanna Evans-Comfort is Interim Unit Director of Journalism.
IU has a long history of journalism education, and I think most of us value that legacy and value our reputation as a journalism school.
But the reputation has taken a national hit. The letter uses the words outrage and betrayed, following the cancellation of all print editions of the IDS, the firing of student media advisor Jim Rodenbush, and IDS claims that the administration was trying to censor what they put in the print version of the newspaper.
When you report things that people in power don't like, that is fulfilling your journalistic obligation. And I hope that we have properly taught our students that they're doing their job.
One quote from the letter: "At this moment, IU is not seen as a safe place for free and open expression, which undermines the educational mission not just of the media school, but of the entire university." It goes on to question the future of student media. Quote, "Today, it is the IDS, our 158-year-old student newspaper, and one of the most respected in the country. What will it be tomorrow?"
We definitely need the university to make it clear that this is a safe place for journalism education.
The letter to students has been published on the Indiana Daily student digital platform. In another development, Jim Rodenbush, the former media advisor, is planning to take legal action for what he calls wrongful termination.
Shortly before student faculty advisor Jim Rodenbush was fired, we interviewed him about a grant to the IDS from the Hearst Foundation to cover news deserts. IU student Madeline Haynes is using some of the grant money to cover Ellettsville, which lost its newspaper 4 years ago. Samantha Camere has the story of how IDS is filling the information gap.
This storefront used to house the Ellettsville Journal, where reporters would hang the headlines of the day in the window for passersby to see. After the Journal shut down in 2021, residents had to rely on Facebook and official city websites to find out information.
All the things that are impacting news and media organizations are leaving some towns without, opportunities to be covered in ways that they've been covered before.
No one to document town council meetings or major town news. Ellettsville became a news desert, a place where there's no local news coverage. But in September of this year, that all changed. The Indiana Daily student received a $100,000 grant from the Hearst Foundation to provide news coverage to rural communities in southern Indiana.
We proposed a 4-year program to where we would provide opportunities to students within the media school to kind of embark or be a part of a reporting project where we would provide coverage to communities in southern Indiana that might not otherwise have it.
The IDS chose Ellettsville as the first community to be covered under the grant, and Madeline Haynes was picked for the job of Ellettsville reporter.
I needed someone who would be down with the idea that they're going to be kind of building something from the ground up.
Madeline published her first article in early October, a piece about Ellettsville's success annexing surrounding land. But the article came only after weeks of meetings with Ellettsville leaders and citizens.
That has kind of been my biggest goal, is just building that trust first. before I even report on any kind of stories or anything.
Madeline wanted to be sure to get to know the town and avoid parachuting in as an outsider.
A lot of times they kind of just push journalists away and be like, we don't want you. But it's actually been the opposite of that. And everyone I've talked to so far has been so kind, definitely like with open arms, like they want somebody to be doing this work in their town.
Madeline is among the IDS reporters also learning broadcast news storytelling skills. You'll see the story she did for us at the IU Newsnet in the next segment, this one from Bloomington. Now to an update on a story we first brought you last week. The Office of Student Life says a second fraternity is now on cease and desist for hazing.
This time, it's Alpha Epsilon Pi. Isaac Perlich joins us in the studio with more. Isaac?
Shelby and Claire, not only are these two fraternities on cease and desist for hazing, but IUPD says both cases are now under criminal investigation due to injuries. Phi Kappa Psi was put on cease and desist for hazing last week after an incident late October 15th into the early morning on the 16th, sending 2 people to the hospital. But that's not all. Late last week, the Office of Student Life put Alpha Epsilon Pi on cease and desist for hazing too. Now there were 3 incidents here. The first happened on the weekend of September 20th, the second on October 10th, and the third on October 12th. Since these are open investigations, IUPD did not comment on these incidents, but they did provide some tips to stay safe from hazing. Tips include leaving the situation and calling 911, as well as staying in a group and being aware of the signs of hazing, unexplained injuries, exhaustion, or peer pressure. You can report hazing on stophazing.iu.edu, and IUPD also encourages you to encourage others to report hazing if they see it. Both fraternities are suspended until further notice from all activities, including social, recruitment, and education events. Shelby and Claire, I'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Isaac. There's a different safety problem on Greek Row, and this one has to do with traffic. 2 students were hospitalized on homecoming weekend after a driver headed west on 17th Street hit them as they crossed at Eagleson. It is not an isolated incident and not one with an easy solution. Our reporter Ashley Voss explains why.
For many IU students, this intersection is a part of their daily routine. Foot and car traffic is heavy with class by day and party crowds by night. It is a well-known trouble spot for both drivers and pedestrians.
We had a meeting with some folks at IU last week, and a big concern that we heard was people speeding on 17th Street.
Even students behind the wheel know how dangerous it is.
With it being on top of the hill, you can't see anything. So, I mean, I know personally driving once, I couldn't see that there was someone crossing, and like I've had to slam on my brakes before.
There's a stop sign on Eagleson, but nothing to stop cars from speeding down 17th Street. With no sign and this darkness, it makes sense why this intersection has a history of crashes. Ellie Udler had a friend who was one of many hit and injured there last year.
She shattered her pelvis and wasn't able to be operated on, to my understanding, at the IU hospital. It was just really scary in the sense of this girl was injured so horribly to the point where our on-campus hospital couldn't treat her.
A solution has been tough to navigate because the city owns 17th Street, but Indiana University owns Eagleson.
When you're working on an area, an intersection that intersects with 2 streets that are owned by different organizations, it makes it tougher.
But a petition to add a stop sign on 17th Street, started by one student, has put pressure on the city.
Those conversations are happening because of that push from the community to make something happen, and that warms my heart, frankly. That is the silver lining behind all of this, of we have this passionate community who wants to make our streets safer.
For IU Newsnet, I'm Ashley Voss.
The petition to prioritize the safety at the 17th and Eagleson crosswalk is on change.org. It already has almost 8,000 signatures.
IU is expanding the reach of its free Gen AI 101 online course. Now it's being offered to more than 800,000 IU alumni. Almost 40,000 current IU students and faculty enrolled in August. Now the free virtual course teaches essential skills in generative artificial intelligence to anyone with a MyIU login. Upon completion, users are granted an official badge on LinkedIn, signaling their attainment of the Gen AI skill set. The temperatures have dropped and trees lining Kirkwood Avenue have unveiled their fall fashion tree sweaters. It's a yearly project called Wrapped in Love. Our reporter Zach Dickstein tells us more from Kirkwood. Zach?
That's right. I'm here on Kirkwood Avenue, and right behind me is one of the trees that has been wrapped in love. Every year, the Middleway House runs a public art display raising awareness for victims of domestic violence. This year, 60 sweaters made by 40 different artists, sponsored by community donations, line the streets, creating a comfy, cozy Kirkwood. Since 2012, the display has captured the hearts and eyes of locals, with the city recognizing October 2nd as Wrapped in Love Day back in 2020.
For me, it takes months. Like, I started on this one recently, probably in July. And then I finished it in September and we hung it up. But yeah, it takes a lot of planning and a lot of yarn.
Make sure to keep your eyes out for this year's sweaters all around downtown from now until January 1st. I'm feeling the love. Now back to you guys.
When we come back, affordable housing is not a phrase you hear often in Bloomington. We'll tell you about a new housing development going up to help people who need it most.
And there is a place on campus that helps get food on the table for students who are struggling financially. No questions asked. See how and where the Crimson Cupboard helps. Welcome back to IU Newsnet. A new affordable housing development is being built on the site of the old Bloomington Hospital.
We'll send it out to Madeline Haynes on the construction site. Madeline, what can you tell us?
Thanks, that's right. I'm standing here at what used to be the site of the old Bloomington Hospital. Since patients were moved out in 2021, this area has been undergoing major transformations. Now it is soon to become a new affordable housing community called Hopewell Neighborhood. It's a project city leaders say is urgently needed. According to Heading Home of South Central Indiana, more than 300 people are currently experiencing homelessness in Bloomington. Mayor Carrie Thompson says she wants to do everything possible to bring that number down. Infrastructure improvements are also underway, including a protected bike lane on West 2nd Street that will connect the Beeline Trail to Bloomfield Road, making the area more accessible to everyone. In its first phase, the development could bring up to 175 housing units right here to the city. The project is expected to be completed by next summer. Back to you.
SNAP, a program which helps low-income people buy food, will stop next month until the government reopens. Food security is a growing problem, and here on campus, there's an organization that helps students put food on the table all year round. The Crimson Cupboard is a free food pantry with locations at the IMU and Campus View apartments. Undergrad and graduate students can visit once a week to pick up groceries, no questions asked. Kristen Lucas, a longtime Bloomington resident and IU's Associate Director of Basic Needs, says they have noticed the uptick in groceries, rent, and life supplies needed in recent years. This makes organizations like the Cupboard more important than ever, but Lucas also understands the Cupboard is more than just a food pantry, it's a community.
You're not in isolation. There are thousands of students here who are in the thick of it, trying to just survive and make ends meet and also get a degree while doing that.
The Crimson Cupboard plans to expand its food selection to include refrigerated items. Organizers also hope to expand the space to include a kitchen for student groups to come in and cook free meals for students. The IMU location is open Monday through Friday from 9 in the morning until 5 in the evening. And if you love fresh produce, heads up, the Bloomington Farmers Market is moving. Starting this Saturday, November 1st, the Bloomington Farmers Market will be at the Switchyard Park Pavilion on 1601 South Rogers Street. This switch will be for the first 4 Saturdays of November until the final holiday market on November 28th. Your favorite vendors will still be there between the normal operating hours of 9 in the morning to 12:30 p.m.
The ongoing Bill Garrett Fieldhouse renovations have created a major inconvenience for many students. Our Lacey Carr joins us with the story on how it is affecting student-run dance groups who don't get practice space by the university. Lacey?
Thanks, Claire. That's right. Renovations can make things complicated. IU is home to over 15 student-led dance groups for non-dance majors, so restricted access to practice space, like the rooms at Bill Garrett Fieldhouse, has become a huge issue. I followed some of the dance groups to find out how they're coping with this change. Take a look.
7, 8, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
For non-dance major student-run dance groups who typically rely on the Fieldhouse's racquetball courts for rehearsals, finding a consistent place to practice has become nearly impossible.
I know the racquetball courts, for a lot of us who have been on In Motion for a long time, are sort of sentimental. We love them and we hate them, but it's kind of a consistent location that we're at. And so not being able to be there has just been different, and it's not the same vibe as it usually is.
Even team morale has started to shift.
It just makes it really difficult for people to want to come to practice and want to, learn, where this is supposed to be a fun space. We're supposed to be having fun and dancing together and learning something and being a team, but it's become really difficult.
With their usual practice space under construction, dance groups have resorted to practicing in classrooms or even outside in large areas like the tennis courts behind me.
Many dance groups are hoping the same issue won't happen again.
More consideration, because the Fieldhouse closing all 12 of the courts at the same time was entirely and completely avoidable.
And some are also calling for more support from the university.
Obviously, we're very grateful that they are renovating the racquetball courts and making them better for us for future use, but more support from them while we're going through this transition. Just because we don't have space available to us would be nice.
To learn more about student-led dance groups and their upcoming performances, search beinvolved.indiana.edu. Now, back to you, Claire.
Thanks, Lacey. Also on Be Involved is the annual Jill Bierman 5K Color Run, or Walk. The run is this Saturday, and it starts and ends at the SRSC. Back in 2000, the run began as a celebration of life for IU student Jill Bierman, who disappeared one morning while on a bike ride to work. The community rallied around Jill's family, turning tragedy into hope. Now her legacy runs on, 25 years later, with IU's only color run. For the last 2 years, the event was rained out, but students still did what they could to honor Jill. They turned the event into a color hip-hop class at the SRSC, where Jill used to work. This year, weather permitting, the run will be a run once more, remembering Jill all these years later. We've seen clouds, rain, and cool temperatures this week.
But what's in store for trick-or-treaters and anyone with outdoor weekend plans? Our Riley Stark joins us with a look ahead in weather.
Thank you, guys. Happy early Halloween. Your costumes might have to be a little bit warmer this Friday night, as it is going to chill out a little bit. But let's take a look at current temperatures right now. 58 degrees over in Terre Haute, and as we head east, you're looking at 49 over in Brookville. That's an 11-degree difference across south central Indiana. Moving on into tonight, though, you're looking again at some cooler temperatures. 47 degrees by 9 p.m., 44 by midnight, and then 42 degrees into those early hours of Friday morning. Let's talk about the weekend, though. Your number 2 Hoosiers are heading out to College Park, Maryland to take on the Terrapins. Kickoff will be at 3:30 over there with a 59 degrees around 3:30, 57 at halftime, and then temperatures dropping again by the evening when the Hoosiers hopefully take home that win. Now let's talk about some just typical weather trends we've been tracking. Again, this warm fall we keep seeing those trends. We're going to keep seeing that into the later parts of this week and next week. Heavy winds, cooler temperatures, but some clear skies. Hopefully we'll see some sun into next week, which we didn't really see much of this week. And then into next week, let's talk about some of those highs. On Thursday, 57 degrees. We were expecting some showers this morning. We didn't really see that, though. Turns out the sun was out today, which was great. Friday, again, Halloween, high of 55, 41 degrees by late night. So again, maybe bring a jacket if you're planning on trick-or-treating. Heading into the weekend, if you have any fall plans, high of 53 on Saturday, 54 on Sunday, and then Monday, 59. Looking at next Wednesday, though, a high of 65. That'll be a good day to get some last bit of outdoor activity in before the fall comes to a close. Guys, back to you guys.
Thanks, Riley. When we come back, IU football is the talk of the nation right now for all the right reasons. But aren't we known as a basketball school?
We'll show you how both the men and women fared in exhibition games as we head toward the start of the regular season. IU Newsnet Sports is next. Welcome back. Basketball season is officially here, and both the men's and women's teams kicked off their seasons just the way they planned it.
But the football team is stealing the headlines these days. The brothers Mendoza each made their mark last weekend, and the team is ready to take on Maryland next. Emma Gladstone joins us with IU Newsnet Sports. Emma?
Indiana football remains the team to beat, ranked second only to Ohio State. IU sits at an undefeated 8-0 after notching another big win, this time against UCLA, which came to Bloomington for the beatdown this weekend. IU got off to an early lead and never faltered. As the Hoosiers' advantage got bigger and bigger, a different quarterback took the field, but one with the same last name, Alberto Mendoza, the brother of starting quarterback Fernando Mendoza, entered the game and made the most of his moment to shine.
It just gives me confidence seeing him from spring ball to fall camp to Kennesaw State when he was throwing touchdowns, to Indiana State to now to UCLA. It just shows me that he's progressed so much and that he's going to be a way better quarterback than myself one day.
That's brotherly love. IU travels to Maryland for a 3:30 game Saturday afternoon on CBS. Indiana volleyball is still having a phenomenal year and is looking to make their first NCAA tournament since 2010. They're currently ranked 24th in the country and just notched another Big Ten sweep over Northwestern. Senior outside hitter Candela Alonso-Corceles has had a big season, and she's been here all 4 years of her college career. The Hoosiers will look to stay ranked as they face Maryland this Friday and number 19 ranked Penn State on Sunday. Both men's and women's basketball officially started their seasons next week, but fans got to see an early test run for both programs. IU women's basketball had a less competitive exhibition against D2 Missouri S&T at Assembly Hall. As expected, the Hoosiers won in a 100-32 blowout, and IU men's basketball faced off against Baylor this weekend at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Baylor received 1 vote in the AP poll, and it was a competitive matchup. The Hoosiers came out on top with a narrow 76-74 victory.
I think we're getting better. I think that's the number one thing. I think there's an identity that we have, defensively has really come a long ways, and I think you saw that in the second half. I think defensively we have a chance to be really good.
The women face Lipscomb on Tuesday at Assembly Hall, while the men face Alabama A&M at home on Wednesday. Indiana's swim and dive team is also off to a hot start. They are also ranked number 2 in the country. Men's swim and dive was missing several athletes to World Aquatics Women Cup action, but still earned major victories over Kentucky. The women, ranked 9th in the country, also notched victories over Kentucky, with 9 Hoosiers winning the event. Both the men and women have a few weeks off before the biggest event of the season, a 4-day Ohio State Invitational on November 18th. And even though it's not the spring, our little 500 cyclists are still competing this fall. But instead of taking to the track this weekend, the riders get the chance to bike around campus. With no home football game Saturday, teams will compete in the tailgate fields. This event is called cyclocross. Riders will pair up in teams of 2 and dodge obstacles scattered around the course, like hay bales, mud, and tree roots. The next day, riders will move to 7th Street. Just outside the IMU, they'll sprint down the road in an event called Street Sprints. After Sunday, the next time we'll see the riders race will be in the spring. And that's all for sports this week. All eyes on the IU game Saturday afternoon. Now back to you, Shelby and Claire at the desk.
It's safe to say that fall is officially here, and the trees in Bloomington are turning beautiful shades of reds, browns, and oranges.
The Brown County Leaf Cam captures it all. Just 30 minutes outside of Bloomington, the Brown County Leaf Cam shows live 24-hour footage of the leaves changing color. If you can't make the hike, the Leaf Cam gives you full access to all the fall nature at the click of a button. You can go to browncounty.com for more. The leaves really are beautiful, and I feel like I didn't even notice them until recently.
I know it feels like the change just almost happened overnight, but it won't last for long, so make sure you really take in these couple of weeks.
Definitely take in that mental picture, but that's it for IU Newsnet for now. We have a behind-the-scenes student production team in the control room and working in the studio for this broadcast. We thank them and we thank you for watching. I'm Claire Tips.
And I'm Shelby Brown. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at IU Newsnet and on the IU Media School YouTube channel. Take care, and we'll see you next week.